Live on Facebook.
I love you, man.
Show, man.
You know your door's still in here?
Huh? It's okay, show. All right, Facebook, we're back. We're back after a little break. The holidays and things kind of, it does what it does. So I'm going to drop the music here and do our thing. You guys know we're good. That's when we do our sound check and all that good stuff. And we'll be right back. This is Scott.
This is Colin. And we are
Two Rational Bastards.
All right, there's the intro. Let's hear the music. I got to refresh the page.
Oh, really?
Welcome, Gary. Welcome. Happy New Year to you too, brother. Come on.
Come on.
The new year.
All right.
Come on.
Where are we? Oh, I needed to scroll down. I forgot I had a video pinned. That's why I was blocking it.
All right. Come on.
Test. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Oh, I needed to scroll down. I forgot I had a video pinned. That's why I was blocking it. All right. So let's see here. Hey, my sister joined. Welcome, Crystal.
Crystal.
Let's see here.
Anyway.
All right, I'm going to do the audio podcast drop here in a second, Colin.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to another episode of Two Rational Bastards, broadcasting live from Rose Garden Studios, just north of Nashville, Tennessee. Broadcasting live every week on Facebook. That video is then uploaded to YouTube. I think I'm 2 behind, Colin, to be quite honest.
Are you?
And then the podcast drops the same day. Colin, man, so Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We were off a couple of weeks. I'm Scott.
It's Colin.
Dude, so the 12th was our last episode 27 with Jello Cups. Great episode, man. Got a lot of great feedback on that episode. It was a lot of fun. It was as much fun the second go around, right? Did you feel same hearing his stories, some of his stories again, just the second go around? I mean,
Yeah, the first, of course, the first time you hear them, me, I'm a quick groupie. You just say anything that I haven't experienced.
You're
before.
a fangirl right away.
He said, I climbed the mountain. I skydived. Just everything. But no, he had more to say, and he's done a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating for me because he's such a young person.
I think I hear the hum from the phone.
You hear the hum from the phone.
There, that's gone now.
Really?
Yeah. And you had to take your hand off of it too. Yeah, it's been doing that whenever it's plugged in or whatever.
Yeah, it's not plugged in. I'm gonna cut it off.
Yeah.
But he's just a neat, consistently
he's genuine.
Person.
He's
very exactly.
And the things that he's doing for not only, and of course, if you recall from the last episode, he's talking about now they're allowing I want to say normal people to kind of join in and do some of these missions and stuff too. So he's not only doing it for the veterans, but it's also something he's doing for other people too that feel a sense of wanting to do
something that challenges them.
Yeah, something challenges, something that you feel like you couldn't do that you really actually, in all actuality can. But I went back actually on that and listened to that episode. I don't necessarily always go back and listen. I don't
either. I haven't listened to the last two. You keep on asking me. I'm just
I do many times to hear what you say, or especially if we have a guest, to hear it again, because I'm doing all this stuff here and responding, and I miss things at times. But it was really good, and Rev D's was really good, man. It was so good.
Rev D, I've gone back the last 3 Sundays.
Yeah.
And I forgot how much she inspires me when she speaks. And it's not because she's saying anything, not always. I mean, of course, sometimes when you're that dynamic, you're going to say some things that you're not accustomed to saying or hearing or even using. But dude, the way she words things resonate with me. It could be something so simple. She was the person that first broke down, love others as you love yourself by Jesus.
Yeah.
It's just like, people say, love others as you love yourself, and then they go out and kill somebody.
Yeah, right.
And I lost an ear.
Okay,
my bad.
It's all good.
But the love others as you love yourself doesn't make sense, and until you really take into account that you really do have to love yourself unconditionally first.
Yeah.
And then allow the other people around you to experience, loving you. I mean, it doesn't work the other way around. I hate myself, and my ears trying to kick in.
That's right, it is. It can't back to you.
You can't hate yourself and then wonder why no one loves you. It just doesn't work that way. So she was the first one that created that concept, and that really makes sense.
Well, and the thought, how she phrased it too, and I've used this, and we talked about this on the episode. Wade, welcome, brother. He said, "What's up, you two bastards?"
Yeah.
Welcome in, Wade. So she was the one that phrased it in this way, that the way she said it was profound. I'd heard it in other ways, but it made it more relatable. As you don't have the capacity to love others as much as you love yourself, and that's what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
You only have that barometer to use, and if you don't truly love yourself, you can't then truly love other people, right?
Right.
That way. But anyway, yeah. So we had the Christmas break. Of course, the kids are out of school. We had the Christmas break, and we had New Year's and things like that. That obviously kept us from doing a show during that time, but we're back on schedule.
Oh, it is your fault. Did you do that?
So next week I will actually be in Seattle, but what we're going to do is we're going to drop an episode from our first show, Exposing Real Estate, Damn Near Anything Else. This was an episode with Mike Ellie. It was, I think, episode number 9 there. It was recorded way back May 16th, 2016, Colin.
Wow.
It's about an hour and a half, but just briefly, it's good. It's a really good episode. He's got such a unique story, but just kind of.
I cried in it.
Yeah, Colin cried, big baby.
I know, man.
But here, just a quick highlight of him.
I told you I was a quick groupie.
He did a song on air too, which was phenomenal, acoustic. So musician, singer, songwriter, actor, playwright, and producer. He's been on film, TV, stage, nightclubs, TV commercials, soundtracks, composing, script writing. He's recorded for Warner Brother Records. He's appeared on numerous national and international network television shows. He's been in movies with Elvis Presley, Easy Come, Easy Go, Brian Keith, Charlton Heston. He's been a featured performer at Disneyland, Universal City Studios, Magic Mountain, Knott's Berry. Has done things for Lowe's, Dodge, Ford, Kool-Aid, McDonald's. I mean, also citizen diplomat and entertainer to the Soviet Union from 1986 to 89. I mean, the list goes on and on. But there's so much more to him than just that little blurb that he gets into.
Right. It'd be impossible to go through it all.
An amazing man. So that was one of our more popular ones. And we thought, God, the timeliness of that one kind of coming back, we'll fill that in for our absence next week, being
awesome.
live. So you guys will see that. We'll do a normal drop. It won't be video because we didn't video them.
Yeah. I wish we did.
We'll still have the podcast, and I'll probably drop a reminder to the people that watch our show to say, hey, it's a pre-recorded. You have to listen to the podcast, or maybe I'll turn it into some audio version they can listen through on YouTube, here on Facebook. But in any case, we're excited about that. I'm going to do the quote, and then we'll kind of get in to a couple of things. So, without reflection, we go blindly on our. Let me start over.
What?
Without reflection, we go blindly on our way, creating more unintended consequences and failing to achieve anything useful. Let me say it again. Without reflection, we go blindly on our way, creating more unintended consequences and failing to achieve anything useful. Kind of like what we've talked about in the past about when the alarm goes off, you just kind of ignore the alarm. Mm-hmm. This is really being aware and trying to take into account how your discrepancy that showed up and how you deal with it instead of just moving past it like it didn't happen. Right? Well,
like right before we started the show, we meditated. I hit 11:11. Scott was busy, and then we did another meditation, and I wasn't going to do it. And then I really, it's hard to turn down an opportunity to meditate.
Right.
Most days I meditate, but there's some days that I miss even priming in the morning. So I try to take every opportunity I can. So I meditated, and that quote reminded me of the second meditation, because the first one was more of a if you will, a grateful. I'm grateful for we're doing a podcast today. I'm grateful, and in the space of being grateful, it's impossible to feel any sort of strife.
Yeah,
because you're actually giving gratitude for what you already truly have. And then the second one was the reflective one. Thank you for a successful podcast. Thank you for allowing me to get my ideas out concisely, clearly, and concisely, unlike concisely.
Yeah, I just did.
So it's the meditation's already failing. But when you said the reflection, also in that, when I meditate, sometimes it digs up those moments that you just didn't notice you were being a dick or an asshole.
Yeah.
His daughter's in here holding me accountable. I got to work on my cursing on when I do a post on Facebook, and on here as well. I need to. There's been several things that's happened, and it reminds me over and over, or is confirmation that I need to work on that. But I was saying, just like that, like this whole moment right here. Like, she's typically not in here, but with her being in here, it keeps me more mindful on what I need to work on, what I said I need to work on, not what somebody else said, hey, you need to work on.
Well, if you remember in the old show, the introduction, the first show that we ever did, we talked about that at times we'll use brash language, and that's just us. But with that, we'll never change that. We'll still have, bad language. But I think sometimes when we use it, sometimes it may be offsetting to some, and they miss the point because we've used, what I mean?
Exactly.
And so we'll try to be a little bit.
We're going to try not to say something.
But speaking of my daughter, Lyric, come here. Here, I got a mic right here. Come here. Here, put these on real quick. You in here, you got to be on the show.
Put them on now.
Put them on. So hold on, you got to they can't see you in the camera view. There she is. So this is my daughter, Lyric. She's 9, and they're still out of school they go back Thursday. But why don't you tell people your name and what's going on? What are you holding?
You about to find out.
About to find out.
You about to find out what happens when you do a show with Lyric. I did one earlier. It did not go well.
The topic was poop trees.
No. The topic was poop, and then it turned into what do you do with the poop, and then what kind of poop is it? And is it grow on vine? She said she grows poop. I said, is it a vine or is it a tree? And we finally discovered it's a tree, so it's definitely poop fruit. That was the whole podcast.
So look, you have fans already. Gary says, "Hey, Lyric," and then Wade says, "Hello, Lyric." See? So tell them your name. What's your name?
Lyric Mosley.
Yeah, and what grade you in?
4th grade.
Yeah, and where do you go to school?
Madison Creek Elementary.
Yeah, well, you're all kind of shy.
I know you are not like that.
All kinds of brave. She had her nose all up in there, checking for boogers all up in the camera.
Yeah, I saw you.
Yeah, singing. Well, you were singing "Hello" from the other side and all kinds of stuff. You didn't know that I had you mic'd up. Everybody heard you, right?
Yeah, no. You could actually hear like the static of the finger and the nose. It's funny. Earlier, I was begging her to come over and give me a hug. I was like, "You can't give your uncle a hug," and she came over and kind of gave me like her arms were loose. I was like, "If you don't give me a hug, I will." So she gave me a real hug, and it's really funny. We've never really explained it. Not that this is the only reason, but when you have real friends and real family, and you get a hug, you get that oxytocin dump.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of the most important dopamines, and I wanted that hug from her genuinely, but we do that hug at the beginning because there's no greater time to get an a
boost,
except for right before,
right? Like
you're trying to be creative. So we do that hug to, of course, acknowledge, hey man, I love you, but then to also charge each other,
right?
Charge each other up psychologically, mentally, and physically, so that we
boost the energy and connect.
Exactly, and it's a connection. So that's why, Lyric, since you're over here, that's why I wanted the hug. You didn't want to give it to me.
What did you get for Christmas, Lyric? We're talking on Christmas break. Tell your top 5 things that you got that you tend to go to since.
A bike, my bike,
go on now.
The Polaroid camera.
Yeah, so she got this little is it a Fujifilm camera? Mm-hmm. It's like a Polaroid that used to take they take these little small ones. She got
cool.
She got that.
Old school.
Yeah, old school. And of course she got like 87 pictures. She went through them all in like about 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. She got a whole stack of them by red. What else you get? You got the Fujifilm, you got your bike. What other favorite things you get?
That flippy sequins
heart pillow. Santa got her flippy sequins heart pillow, and that was like the most excited thing that she got out of everything. So, and
then a squishy.
You got a squishy, and you got one here. That wasn't for Christmas though. I found that one. So,
is that 5?
She got. That's not 5. You didn't cover 5. In this, she wears this quite a bit. She got a North Face jacket and a couple other things, right? Cool. You have anything else you want to say? You wanted to be introduced. You're sitting over there. You're in here. You got to be on the air.
What do you want to say?
Hello, everybody.
You're already. You know what?
All right.
Go on, get.
Well, go. So, what do you say whenever we sign off? What do we say?
Out.
Love you, babe. Oh, y'all take it up. Oh, look at that.
Hanging the baby.
Hanging the baby. All right, babe.
Well, Lordy mercy. So that's gonna be my accountability person.
That's
already my ego's like, what are we gonna do now?
So let's see. Gary says I met Lyric at the Mercantile in downtown Franklin several years ago. I think that's when I met you too, Scott. Yeah, probably right. Good stuff. Wade says Melinda Haynes Smith, so adorable, such a cutie pie. Look at that. So thanks everybody that's joined in. I can't see your names have scrolled past now. I can't see right now when we're live. I can see it afterwards, but comment, share, whatever. Look, so Colin, as you can see, I got a big owl sitting here on the table. Alabama won 20. They won 24-6. and they're going to be in the national championship playing Georgia. So Georgia won.
Georgia.
Yeah, they won in double overtime. And Tennessee fans have to be pretty happy because the defensive coordinator for Alabama is now going to be Tennessee's head coach.
Really?
And their defense was phenomenal against Clemson yesterday. So that should give Tennessee fans hope. But it's going to be
he said hope.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, he's a good, because they've just had a bad spell of coaches here recently. But any case, it's going to be Nick Saban, of course, coaches Alabama, and then you have Kirby Smart that coaches Georgia. Kirby Smart was a coordinator for Alabama for 10 years, so he was on their staff. So it's kind of neat. You got two SEC schools playing the national championship, and then it's basically head coach coaching against one of his old assistants. So that'll be fun. And the Georgia program's built quite a lot like Alabama, the way they discipline and whatnot. But in any case, I'm excited about that, man. That's Monday, this coming Monday. It's the national championship game, so it should be good. They both have really good defenses, good run game, and of course our quarterback's a little bit more mobile. But anyway, it's going to be fun. And Tennessee,
Tennessee won, man. They got themselves a wild card.
Oh my God, the Titans are in the playoffs. They play Kansas City
for the first time in
since 2008.
Years.
Yeah, since 2008. And who would have thought that? If you had thought that it would have been Mike Mularkey that would have been the head coach that would have taken them back to the playoffs in the first time, and nobody would ever guess that.
No,
but he's got
especially at the beginning of the year. So.
He's not a flashy kind of exciting kind of name, I guess, as a coach, but they're grinding, man. They're playing.
Yeah, I mean, it's reminiscent of the Music City Miracle. Season, which was 2000.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
gosh.
Yeah. So 2000, 2008, and then finally 2018.
Yeah,
man.
In the
playoffs.
So I got to share this. I don't know. New Year's Rockin' Eve. Ryan Seacrest. I don't know why they thought to bring Mariah Carey back to try to redeem her lip syncing thing, but they did. And I won't say that it was as bad, but it certainly wasn't good. What she did this.
Oh my God, Mariah! She's a diva, man. I mean, give her a break.
She was still a little off key. Of course, she still sounds better with a sore throat and off key than I'll ever sound. But the point is, I don't know what happened to her vocal gift, but she can't even hit the lower register stuff that's like her normal kind of range. It was really clunky, man. Yeah. Really clunky.
You remember like Whitney Houston, even when she was all cracked out and everything, she still like when you stop sweating and everything, we can get you on stage. She get out there, man, and have you crying. Well, like her voice was amazing.
She had moments where her, you didn't hear the old Whitney, but Steve still, even after that, even cracked out Whitney was better than most people singing, right?
No, she was amazing. Now, again, compared to old Whitney, of course not.
Yeah, right.
But I'm talking just high quality singing still.
Mm-hmm.
Man, when I would hear her sing, I'd be like, wow, what in the world?
So look at this. So Mariah gets up on stage and she pauses between songs and she says, "They told me there would be tea." This is on live TV. She's redeeming herself, right? Supposedly. In the middle of a song, she pauses. "They told me there would be tea." She said, looking perplexed. "Despite the hellish cold of the evening, there was not." Oh, here's what she says. "Oh, it's a disaster." Okay, well, we'll just have to rough it. I'm going to have to be like everybody else with no hot tea.
Wow.
And so they continue, right? The word iconic gets thrown around a lot, but really, hot tea, the most blasé disaster ever uttered, being like everybody else. Iconic.
Yeah.
I mean,
like you said earlier, she's been on that pedestal for so long, it's affected you. And like that meditation earlier, like if you don't meditate or do some sort of practice to where you like hold yourself accountable and self-reflect and admit that you messed up, that would have been an F-bomb had she not been in here. Ooh, it was right there ready to go too, boy. I'm about to damn everybody with an F-bomb. She's sitting there, she's like, and? But if you don't hold yourself accountable, you're not going to notice and you're going to get worse. And then after how long? I remember hearing her first album. I think I was in the
I don't know when it
eighth
was.
grade or
Anybody
something
knows
like that.
what year it was. I don't remember, but way
But-
back.
But back then, when she first came on, like she was still humble and shy
Yeah.
on camera. But after being on a pedestal all these years, 30 plus years later, I mean, I'd be hard pressed to be a person that could not feel like I'm better than everybody else if I didn't continue to reflect.
She's been so disconnected with normalcy for so long. I mean, it's just it's pretty amazing. But
Where's my hot tea at?
I knew. I mean, it's terrible to say. I mean, I wasn't trying to set any bad vibe, but when they announced that she was going to be back on, I was like, this is not
what?
It's not going to go well.
Mm-mm.
And it didn't. I wasn't.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I was not surprised. I figured that she'd have some kind of. I don't know, man.
And this has been, I don't know, man. Like I'm thinking about it right
Wade says, "Bless her little heart."
now. Bless her heart. Every show, man, I'll put the jacket on like beforehand, and then I'm like, Mr. Roger.
And then you'll need to put it back on.
No, it's actually warm in here this time. So.
Well, that'll cut off. I did, and normally
No,
our
I'm
door's
good.
not closed.
No,
Okay.
I want it to be. I'd rather it be warm than cold because I'll be in here all chattering.
Like that one day where you were hopped up on coffee and it was cold. Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited, but I don't know how to talk.
So Wade, this should ring to you, and you probably know this. California legalized recreational. You wacky rabbit. Recreational purchase of marijuana Monday. So
I thought it was always legal.
now you can actually go in and just anybody can buy it. Now you don't have to have like a medical kind of thing. Anybody 21 or over can buy
Okay,
it.
so
now.
what's going to happen to those businesses that are set up that way?
They're still going to be okay. So here, because you still have to go through, you have congrats to them.
Hey, I didn't do it, but
I
you
read
did.
it. I didn't say it. Wade said it. I was reading this.
Yeah, quit reading.
Anyway, Wade, my daughter is in here.
Thanks a lot, Wade.
Anyway,
I love it.
so you still have to go through all this regulatory board and stuff to be qualified. You can't just pop up a shop and sell pot, So pop up pot shop. Say that
Pot shop.
So anyway, so the California industry is forecast to reach $7 billion in a few years, more than $6.6 billion of the entire legal cannabis market in the United States in 2016. So the entire market in 2016, California is expected to surpass that in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Here's something funny. I thought about this too before I read it. Legalizing it will mean a lot of people may try it who have shied away until now.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? Who knows? By having the state come in with a regulatory program really helps to legitimize it. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of folks who otherwise are a little hesitant to shop at dispensaries. California adults 21 and older can possess as much as an ounce and grow up to 6 plants at home. So how are they going to control how many? I mean, you can have a whole grow room. How you?
Well, that's the thing. Like you can grow it, but like you would think that would hurt the industry. But you can also grow some tobacco. I mean, so
Right.
it's a little different.
Yeah, slightly.
I got a tobacco plant in the back there. Good, we're going out there and dry it up and let's get us a cigarette real quick.
So while we're talking about California and states legalized, it made me think about Colorado. Highlands Ranch had a horrific shooting this past weekend. Police officer was killed in the line of duty and several other officers shot. They were responding to domestic disturbance call. They'd been out there earlier in the night around, I want to say 2 a.m. and then responded again at 5, and they were ambushed and shot. One was killed. There's a connection to me because I haven't been in law enforcement, but there's even a closer connection because my best friend in law enforcement, he's like a brother to me, Eric Brown, works for Douglas County Sheriff's Department, which is in Highlands Ranch.
Yep.
The Douglas County deputy is the one that died. It was a friend of his.
Wow.
So I was really worried. I knew the chances of him being on shift because he's a school resource officer, but sometimes they have to rotate through shifts when school's out.
Mm-hmm.
They make you rotate through sometimes. I'm not sure if they do it there, but I couldn't get in touch with him or his wife.
Right.
And so I reached out to his father. I remembered I had his contact information, and he said, no, he's safe. I mean, my heart dropped because because when we moved back from California, they were we stayed with them one night.
Oh, okay.
And spent a day, went out to dinner and stayed with them. So anyway, I just want to kind of send some, positive energy out to the deputy's family. I think that he had 2 kids, and why he's 29 years old.
Wow.
And apparently was, one that did it the right way. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of mention that. It made me think about, we're talking about California, it made me think about Colorado. Any case, so Colin, what do you, what I have may tie into what you, if not, I'll wait for our next show.
And this is the funniest part. I always parlay off of you. Like you'll say something and I'll grab the notes that kind of blend in, because there's always something. But if you're gonna throw me, if you're not gonna throw me alley-oop, maybe I can throw you one. This is the beginning of the year, and a lot of people, man, I can't tell you how much I can't stand New Year's resolutions. Being in the industry, I can't knock the fact that my revenue goes up astronomically because, but I almost feel like a predator, because a lot of these people don't have these some of these 5 qualities that I'm going to share. And this goes along with any idea that you're thinking about going into. Like, success to me isn't really one thing. If there's any point in time that you're happy, you're successfully happy, you're successful. But I'm talking financially successful. So all the details that I'm going to have here are going to be in sequence with that. So keep that in mind as you hear what I'm talking about. But I want to talk about conscientiousness today. Mm-hmm. And you got to ask yourself, as I go through these, which one of these are you weak? Where are you strong? And where can you make adjustments? Because this might be why you're not reaching some of your goals. And I'm actually going to ask Scott if he thinks he's weak in any of these, and I'll share my 3.
and you know good and well I will for sure tell you if I am. Yeah.
And here's the thing: if you hear this whole list and you feel like you're strong in all of them, it doesn't mean that you're a liar. It just means that you might be delusional.
Yeah.
You could be strong in all of them, but it's so rare. And if you can hold yourself accountable in the spot that you're weak, you might see your productivity and whatever you're doing go up astronomically. This is what I'm finding with some of the things that I've been working on. But here it goes. This is working on your conscientiousness, not your consciousness, but your conscientiousness. It's 5 facets. So industriousness. It means exactly how it sounds. You might think of, construction site or something like that. It simply means hardworking. And it's frustrating to me when people are, you can be financially successful if you work hard. You know how many janitors and how many construction workers and how many, all these different people that work extremely hard that aren't financially successful. It's not just that.
Yeah.
Saying that would be like, hey, Scott, I want to go play basketball. Dude, all you know how to do is shoot foul shots.
Don't you think that
you got to dribble? You got to have a crossover. You got to, what I'm saying? There's so many different things you don't even run well.
Don't you think that it's dismissive too?
It's dismissive.
Oh my God.
Work hard, and it's not. Where's the details?
Yeah.
So here's the other details. Working hard, yes, that's one element.
Piece of it. Yeah.
All right. So this is the part, and I'll just tell you as I'm going, this is the part where I'm super duper weak, and that's perfectionism. Perfectionism.
Yeah.
All right. Paying attention to those little details. A lot of people are really good at the whole picture or big picture, and they have the vision, and that's great. But where is your details? Where is the perfectionism that's gonna put everything in its proper place, and paying attention to those little details? And speaking of those little details, to put those in their proper place, guess what else you have to be? Organized. So already perfectionism and organization, those are the 2 biggest elements of success. If you're going to be 1 or 2 of any of these 5, if you're those 2, you you could get there without the others. But this is the problem. You could be a narcissistic, financially successful person, that kind of person that is up there on a pedestal, and like Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
She put the hard work in, and she was probably a perfectionist at one point, and she was probably organized at one point, but all that's left now is what you saw the other night.
Terrible.
So organization. And then this next one is kind of a weird one that we don't really think about a lot, but diligence. If you are a diligent person, what do? You start, but you also finish.
Yeah.
You finish it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? This is why I hate New Year's resolutions. You start stuff that you're not equipped to finish always, because a lot of people, they don't start at a point of the whole picture that they're trying to do. They don't start in a space that they can actually get in the habit of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually fail. They get all these reps of failure until they get down to the bottom, and they have all these repetitions of not quite living up to that standard, and then they stop. You got to put all these others. You have to put your hard work, and you have to put your perfectionism and organization into your diligence. If you're diligent, you finish. All right. So here's the other part. Prudence. Weird word. You're a prude. Prudence. It's important though. You know what I'm saying? It's not just an insult.
That doesn't sound like some old word, like blouse and trousers.
We was talking the other day. My great grandmother, she used to give me words, and I would go to school with it.
Yeah.
I had a backpack. I went to school, and I took my backpack. I was like, "Where the hell is my book satchel at? Where's my book satchel?" I'm like, what the hell? And everybody else is just like, book satchel? What is a book satchel? What you got a horse out back? I was like, dude, man, quit playing. Where's my books? Backpack. I went home. I kicked the screen door open. She goes, "First of all, calm your little ass down and come on in here and talk to Big Mouth. What's wrong with you?" "What the hell, Jimmy? I've been talking about book satchel. Book satchel ain't a thing." She just say, "Well, if you want to please everybody, go on up there and say, what you call it? A backpack or whatever you call it." What I call it, a book satchel. So, you know, she says words like parasol and all kinds of stupid stuff like that. You know, parasol is when those little old ladies in the Westerns would have those little umbrellas, and when the sun would move, they would. I'm just like, I'm going to school. Where, you know, it's raining. Let me get my parasol. What the Paris wheel? You need to sit your butt down and learn some. That's old English. What the heck? So prudence is this. Prudence is this. It's making a decision based on the highest intelligent point that you can make. Okay. It'd be like going and coming up with a great idea for an app, Scott, and you and I, we go out and we spend $1 million on this app. And then we go around after the fact and just like, "Hey, we got this $1 million app. It's coming out. You gonna love it."
But I know what you say. Yeah.
And then somebody smart comes up and is like, "Man, why did y'all spend $1 million and run the risk of there not being a market for it, or not be?
Why didn't you try to find out if there was a market there?"
Exactly. Why didn't you spend $1,000 and do a test run on the app and see if there's interest? Now, if it doesn't fly, we lost $1 million instead of 1,000.
Right.
1,000. If we have $1 million to spend, we can make adjustments. Where's the adjustment left to be made if you spend $1 million?
Yeah.
Maybe not any left. You know what I'm saying? So trust me, on the iPhone, everybody was saying it wasn't going to be a thing and making fun of it. Go back and look at some of the skits on some of the different things that we're talking about. It was going to be stupid. And what are you going to do? My iPhone makes spaghetti.
Yeah.
You know, and now they're looking back like, dang, if I'd have invested in an iPhone.
Right.
So making a decision based on intelligence. So if you have all 5 of these intact and you go forward in your decisions with those 5, you're going to be stronger. I have been working on not really perfectionism. That's probably going to be last, because I'm a big picture guy, but organization, I think that will bleed over in. I used to be weak in hard work, and I'm an extremely hard worker now. I can say that with confidence, and it doesn't give me a sense of, oh, I feel weird saying it. I work extremely hard. That's not a big deal. Prudence is elusive. but I start and finish most of the things that I start. I just try to become based on prudence. I try to make sure I don't start anything that's unrealistic for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like for you, I'm curious what you think, because here, before you answer, here's what I think. I think Scott's strong in all of these. Like when I think about my reflection on, you know, who can I look at? I think of Scott and a few other people that don't exist in my life. They're on TV and stuff, but it's neat that my brother is someone close to me that I can just be like, okay, yeah. Okay. Organization. And this dude is super anal. He's super dude. Like this, like everything has its little spot. And I keep this, like when I leave, it's going to be a whirlwind of a mess. And I can see him over there. He's like, oh Lord, what am I going to do next? And I know he comes in behind me and crying and cleaning up after me. But he's strong in all these, in my opinion. So I'm curious to hear what you think is your weakness, if any.
Yeah, no, I mean, so the one thing that I want to kind of mention to people is, and it's important, I think, is striving for perfectionism is something you'll never attain. But if you strive for that, you'll always be doing your very best.
Exactly.
Right? So I think that it's because it's elusive. You never will catch anything perfect. You can do your very best. I think for me, to be quite honest, is this sounds counter to what you're saying, but sometimes the intelligence piece for me on the like I'll have a grand idea and I'll do just that. I'll put it in motion before I say, well, wait a second. One, is somebody else doing it, doing it better, or is there even a market? I think it's cool because I would do it, but hey, guess what? 99% of the population could care two craps about this idea.
Right.
So I put things in motion a lot of times that I don't use the intelligence factor, I guess you could say, or whatever the word that we have tied to that. But prudence, yeah, there's that word. Your breeches and blouse
and parasol and book satchels.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely have the detailed thing and the drive and the work hard. Probably I do the work hard probably to a fault to where I overwork sometimes and I don't make personal time. It's all about business. I mean, you can see, if people could see behind the cameras what's at my desk there. There's two computers and 3 monitors, right?
Right.
And before I sit down, it's realistic. I'm responding. I mean, I'm working. This is my day off, the only day I take off.
Right.
But I still am working right before we even go live, right? And so the last thing I do is check to see if there's anything I can respond to. So that's to a fault.
Right.
Probably it's not healthy. The holidays really helped me kind of get reset and to say I need to really be more cognizant of getting lost in my work. So that is a double edge. It's a weakness because I tend to take it too far.
Right.
And then the being, the elusiveness of perfectionism, trying to obtain that. I know in my mind that I can't get that. It is very elusive, right? It's kind of like the unicorn. You'll never find it. But I'm so hard on myself if I fall short of that. Well, you're always going to fall short of that. So what are my strengths are also weaknesses. They create weaknesses. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Maybe I didn't phrase
it
that
does. Right. It does. And I know you're trying to look at it as like a peak at the top of a mountain. I'm not speaking on it as that. What I'm saying is when you work hard, yes, you can overdo any of these. What I'm saying is when you're going into your decision, are you going to be able to apply?
I see what you're saying.
Being industrious in this topic.
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to apply the perfectionism and meaning paying attention to the details?
Yeah, I get
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to be organized to make a plan? Are you going to be able to be diligent to start and finish based on what you've seen so far? And then overall make an assessment and look at it and be like, okay, this is still an intelligent.
I see what you mean.
Path. See what I'm saying? Like, it's not about your behavior or your emotion or anything like that.
I see what you're saying.
It's covered up. That's why we strike. That's why I'm gonna beat the shit out of you when we get off there. So don't you ever nothing.
I think that I get it now. I looked at it a bit deeper than any of you. You're talking about like on the surface when you're going in to do something, do you apply these things?
Your success and this idea.
Yeah. So and so I think again, my weakness is probably the prudence part. The other pieces, I think I feel pretty good that I do those fairly well. Right.
That's funny.
But
that my two, I knew we were going to have one, but I didn't think it was going to be that one. I thought you, because we both, I think back in the day, ours used to be diligence. Like we'd have, we would have great emotions in something, and then we would start and we'd be like, I don't even want to do that anymore. You know what I mean? Like I'm over this. You know what I mean? Where now, and now that we're older, we're more prudent, and we're just like, you know what? Let's start that. And then, you know, like we've been doing this for 2 years, and I can't imagine ever stopping. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's so you say, that's funny you say that. It's been just a week or so over a year of the new show. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't.
Yeah, I have to look up the date when we dropped the other one. But
oh man, that's so awesome.
But yeah, so it's been a year roughly for the new show. So
the first thought that popped in my head is now we're working on catching up to how long we did the old show, and then trailing off from.
And we did. I forget how many episodes we did there. I think
we're 30.
I don't know, something like that. But yeah, that's a great reminder. It's kind of like this. I've really adopted, and it was a great reminder with Rev D being on.
Yeah.
Reminding us of the thought process of unity, about how they really show up, be present, speak your truth, and don't get attached to the outcome. I've really reattached myself to that.
Right.
That was great having for that reminder. Right. I think I was doing it, but I kind of speak that mantra every day now to keep it fresh. I don't do like before. It was fragmented throughout the day. Like I would take pieces of it and didn't realize I'm doing that.
Right.
But now I intentionally do that with everything that I go into, and I've helped so many people by recently calling me with issues or meeting with some of the other agents, whatever, and having conversations and sharing that way of approaching problems or anything in your life. Dude, it's so powerful. That is a great thing to implement.
That's why I hate New Year's resolution. It's giving you an idea that might be great without a blueprint. You know, conscientiousness is what you want to take into the year, you know? Yeah. So for me, my new mantra, this is a new concept for me, you know, and then there's some dogmatic dogma behind some of the things that we say. You know, we say these things, but scattered all around. But when you take it out of the dogma and then put it into a little group, and then give it a nice little label. It doesn't matter what the labels are. I mean, for industriousness, I mean, you can just a person with drive. I mean, you could put don't get attached to those terms, but I wanted to use those terms because it's words that you don't typically use, and it'll force you to kind of put a focal point on it and be like, oh, I do know what that means. Yeah. And then you can see yourself in it somehow. And if you're strong in all these, you're probably a super successful person. But if you're strong in it, in all of them, what percentage of 100 would you give on all of them? Are you 60% here and more of a 30 here, 20 here? Do that, you know, write those down and really take a look at it, because being honest with yourself, back to your quote, being honest with yourself and really reflecting and really holding yourself accountable, that's where your personal development goes through the roof.
I'd be curious, you know, Nicole, she's probably not on here anymore, but Nicole Mason joined in briefly. She may not be on here, but to find it, like Keith, like what you know, his thing, I'd like to get him to speak history, because he's successful.
Let me tell you, man, I'm going to speak for him here. He's one of the hardest working men I've met. Like he's the hardest working man in show business ever since James Brown died. I'm gonna share a story with you. I don't think he will mind. As far as, because I know he's a big picture guy.
So again, Keith owns Venue 109 out here in Goodlettsville, Madison area. It's a venue where they do live music. You can rent it out for other events and things like that. Anyway, so we used to do the show from there.
Exactly.
Anyway, Keith's a phenomenal guy. But anyway,
he's
go
awesome.
ahead. Yep.
And he told me a story. When he walked into that place, this guy literally didn't know what he wanted to do with it. And he walked in there to ask him about dumps in the back. Like, how do I get this dumpster system going? Because he runs a nonprofit that was up the road. And in that building, they were going through some leasing decisions. Mm-hmm. And he went down there just to ask him about the dumping system. And he kind of looked around and was just like, man, there's something about this. And in that instance, he's like, I want this, and saw a vision of a venue. And he literally, it wasn't sanctioned in that area to be it
wasn't zoned for it or whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't zoned for a commercial spot. He went in. Everything that happened, he was adapting and adjusting and adapting and adjusting and almost made it happen. So when I think of a hard worker, and you know, it's him, man. And he didn't have to have the whole all the small details and the plan. Sometimes, and there's an exception to every rule. You know these types of people. Sometimes when you go, you get a reward from it.
Well, and too, you know, for him, like,
but he's diligent and he finishes.
Well, and Nicole fills in those gaps for him. You know,
absolutely.
You know, she has those strings too, but she helps fill in those because they're a team. Mm-hmm. And but you know, like Wade is on. He owns a business,
right? So
he's successful at what he does. What is it? You know, what are those things for you, Wade, that are our strengths and weaknesses? Gary Buckles joins in. He's very successful at what he does. What are those? You know what I mean? Those are the kind. And it didn't really dawn on to me. Now maybe we'll do a series where we have people that are successful. Doesn't necessarily have to be monetary success. We're talking about those things that create monetary success, but it could be what makes you a successful leader in your church or whatever it is. What are the? That might be a cool series to do, to bring on for brief segments.
You know, successful. You know, might be. You know, for me, when I was working with kids and you were trying to get faster and you were trying to get better at your sport, when you come back to me as a parent and you're talking about, wow, you know, my wrestler that I used to work with, you know, so many championships. You know what that was? I won those championships. You know what I mean? Like I got that experience too. That was a part of my success. You know, when you have kid after kid after kid after kid coming back and being like, wow, had this one kid, Scott, that we trained him for the tailback. This was, not to be racist, a white kid.
Yeah.
He was going up against a kid, Golden Tate. You remember him? Yeah. Golden Tate. Absolutely. He's still in the NFL now.
Well, he played at Pope John Paul.
Exactly. That's the exact school. He went up against this kid and looked amazing. Like if they put him in because he was second string, that's who he was going up against. And you couldn't really be like, wow, why'd they put that guy in? Other than the fact that everybody knew he was going to the NFL. But when you come back and you talk to this kid and he's in special forces in the military, and he comes back to you and he says, man, if it wouldn't have been for all of that training that you gave me and all those running drills and all those tricks. There's a trick that, because I hate to run, there was a trick that I came up with, and it's how many sprints can you go until you're 100% exhausted, and how long does it take for you to get recovered in a 10-minute span? So you sprint and you go 100% until you can't go any further, and then you rest. You walk back, and if you get back and you're not recovered, you recover, and you get as many of those in 10 minutes. And we did those type of drills. He said in the special forces, it was that type of recovery that made him like, he was the go-to guy. Like, it's like, man, you don't get tired. But his success in that is still my reflection of success. On top of the fact he still looked good as a tailback. Yeah. So that's success to me. You know, if you're happy, if you're trying to help people and actually helping people, and of course monetary.
Yeah, absolutely. So Wade says, come see me and we'll go over your questions. So I would be, if he would love to do the show from his shop, that would be kind of cool.
Right.
And then to see if he'll go on live. I'm sure he will. I don't want to put you on the spot, Wade, but if so, maybe we can arrange that. 2 weeks from now, Elijah's coming back. I just remembered that.
Oh,
just
cool,
now.
cool.
So, because he went to Israel
Right.
for the holidays, and he's going to share a lot of the things that he learned. It's going to be fun.
I'm going to love it.
But yeah, I mean, I think definition of success doesn't necessarily mean monetary. I mean, like I look at when I'm, in real estate, it's not about the monetary. I mean, obviously I like the monetary gain that I get from it, but I have a goal. I'm going to be number one. I don't care what that means monetary. I don't focus on the outcome of that. I say, okay, I need to move 10 units by this time to maintain, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what I focus on. And then the money comes. It's what they always said to you, right?
Right.
If you enjoy what you're doing and you're focused on the right thing, the money's just going to follow, follow suit.
And I know I've said this 1,000 times. There's been so many times I've been sitting right here, and I'm only here 1 or 2 times a week, that I'm right here, and Scott will do a deal that does not benefit him. Like he's just like, look, if this doesn't work, you can go with this company, but these are the things you're going to need to remember when you go to your new agent. And he'll lay it all out for them. And talk about someone who's organized. He's like, boom, 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 boom. These questions were asked, so you need to raise these questions if they answer it this way. I mean, why would you do that? If you have integrity as a person and you display that no matter what, the money will just come, because what are those people even going to say about you when they don't use you? Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Scott was XYZ. They're not going to, what can you say bad about a person that isn't willing to not help?
I tell you something that sucks, man, for somebody like me that is anal and detailed and has things organized, is when something, I thought I had everything organized, and I do something and then it does a negative kind of outcome to somebody else. I'm like, God, this is so, I had an instance like this on a big deal we recently closed, and I miscommunicated sending a document. It wasn't that I missent the document. I was having somebody else send it, and it was kind of abnormal. We had 2 competing documents. There's only almost always 99% of the time one, but the second one needed to be sent, and the person didn't know not to send it. When I found out 2 days before, oh crap, these things weren't done. And I had to, hey, it's not anybody's fault but mine, and this is not how I operate. You know this, right? And
right.
Oh, it's such a crappy feeling.
Well, at least you owned it. At least you owned it. And again, that brought a bit of peace too, just saying it's and taking ownership of that, and realizing that it was my mistake. But I'm going to read, because this goes into what you're talking about, the resolutions. It's talking about dieting, and I'm going to read it. I know how I feel about reading. I don't want to bore people, but a lot of this is really important. And then that'll be the last thing, and then we can, we'll have our kind of wrap up. But basically the title is Diets Do Not Work. And so the scientific evidence is clear as can be that cutting calories simply doesn't lead to long-term weight loss or health gains. We suspect most dieters have realized this by now. Of course, most do, right? And yet here they are again, setting the same weight loss goal this year that they set last year. The only people who do not seem to appreciate this are people who have never dieted. It's particularly hard for them to believe because it does not square with their own eating experiences. Take Nikki, for instance. She eats sensibly much of the time with some junk food here and there, but it doesn't really seem to affect her weight. She's not a dieter. She's just naturally thin Nikki. And it's not surprising that she believes what she sees with her own eyes and feels in her own body. Nevertheless, Nikki has it wrong. Researchers have been studying why diets fail for a very long time. Of course, you know this, you're in this world, Colin. We have seen that diet failure is the norm. We've also studied the stigma that heavy people can face and witnessed the blame game that happens when dieters can't keep the weight off. From a scientific perspective, we understand that dieting sets us up for an unfair fight. Nikki thinks she's thin because of the way she eats, but actually genetics play a huge role in making her thin. Nikki gets all the credit, though, because people see the way she eats and they can't see her genes. Many heavy people wouldn't be lean Nikki even if they ate the same foods in the same quantities. Their bodies are able to run on fewer calories than Nikki's, which sounds like a good thing and would be great if you found yourself in a famine. However, it actually means that after eating the same foods
and use that energy to run the system of their body, they have more calories left over to store as fat than Nikki does. So to actually lose weight, they have to eat less food than Nikki. And then once they've been dieting a while, their metabolism changes. So they need to eat even less than that to keep losing weight. It's not just Nikki's genetically given metabolism that makes her think dieting must work. Nikki, as a non-dieter, who finds it really easy to ignore that bowl of Hershey Kisses on her coworker's desk. But for dieters, it's like those kisses are jumping up and down saying, eat me, eat me. Dieting causes neurological changes that make you more likely to notice food than before dieting. And once you notice it, these changes make it hard to stop thinking about it. Nikki might forget those chocolates are there, but dieters won't. In fact, dieters like them even more than before. This is because other diet-induced neurological changes make food not only taste better, but also cause food to give a bigger rush of the reward hormone dopamine. That's the same hormone that is released when addicts use their drug of choice. Nikki doesn't get that kind of rush from food. And besides, Nikki is full from lunch. Here again, dieters face an uphill battle because dieting has also changed their hormones. Their levels of the so-called satiation hormone, leptin, did I say that right?
That's right.
Go down, which means that now it takes even more food than before to make them feel full. They felt hungry on their diets all along, but now feel even hungrier than before. Even Nikki's regular non-diet lunch would make dieters feel full at this point. And I'm almost done, but you can see why I'm reading all this. People see Nikki and are impressed with her great self-control willpower. But should it really be considered self-control to avoid eating a food that you wouldn't have eaten even if you weren't hungry? Is it self-control when you avoid eating food because you don't notice it, like it, or receive a rush reward from it? Anyone could resist the food under those circumstances. And even though Nikki doesn't really need willpower in this situation, if she did need it, it would function quite well because she's not dieting. On top of everything else, dieting disrupts cognition, especially executive function, which is the process that helps with self-control. So dieters have less willpower right when they need more willpower. And non-dieters have plenty, even though they don't need any. And of course, even if Nikki were to eat those tempting foods, her metabolism would burn up more of those calories than a dieter's metabolism. So Nikki has mistakenly been given credit for succeeding at a job that is not easy for her, but easier than the job dieters face. The cruel irony is that after someone has been dieting for some time, changes happen that make it hard to succeed at dieting in the long run. It is physically possible, and a small minority of dieters do manage to keep the weight off for several years, but not without demoralizing and all-encompassing battle with their sociology the entire time. It's easy to see why dieters usually regain the weight they lose on their New Year's resolution diet. If you're a dieter, remind yourself that you aren't weak, but that where you are, but that you're in an unfair fight that very few will win. Change your focus to improving your health with exercise, which doesn't require weight loss, and resolve to choose a different New Year's resolution next year.
Yeah.
So
That last part I agree with.
So I mean, I agree with a lot of it. I understand. I mean, there's a lot of subcategories to it all, but I think the basis overall makes sense to me, obviously. And me, naturally, I'm one of those that can eat anything and everything and not really see the effects from it. It's just how it is. And most of my family's that way too.
Right.
And then I know I have people that do more cardio than me and work out and probably eat healthier than me. They just can't, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that just ties into the New Year's resolution. I get why people do New Year's. It's a fresh start to a new year.
Right.
But you're setting yourself up. As long as you keep that last part in mind, like you said, remind yourself that you aren't weak, but change your focus to improving your health and not so much, on the weight loss and diet, and resolve to choose a different resolution next year. So anyway, I know you have some input.
Well, I hate articles that kind of sort of generalize, certain things.
It's longer than that. I took out the highlights of it.
Yeah. No doubt. Dieting is it's a temporary thing.
Well, we're all on a diet, right?
Whatever you eat is your diet.
Yeah.
And the industry has put this negative label on dieting.
Right.
And I'm just like, if you eat 15 honey buns a day, then your diet is 15 honey buns a day. I'm pretty sure you don't feel any sort of way other than the fact that, you're probably thinking about your feet because you're gaining so much weight. It's just like, oh, I gotta get off my feet. But your diet, it's just unfair. What it is, it's a eating strategy. Mm-hmm. And your lifestyle diet that you eat, that should be the only time. However you eat overall, that should be your diet, and that's the diet that you're going to allow your body to reach homeostasis. That's balancing. You're not going to gain weight on this diet. You're not going to lose weight. Your body's just balanced. But when you're doing a nutritional strategy, like when I was trying to gain weight, I was doing things that was temporary to get the manipulation. I'm not going to eat 4,000 calories. When you're trying to gain weight, you need to take 20 times the lean muscle mass weight. There was a time that I had 200 pounds of lean muscle mass. 200 pounds. I only weigh 195 right now. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's unreal. I had 200 pounds. I was weighing close to 240. Yeah. Big. Like, even looking back on it, the psychological and talking about your mindset back then, I still thought I was skinny, Scott. Yeah. But that's just what it is. Like, no matter if you start when you're big and you try to get small, I get so sick and tired of hearing people that are really, really awesome looking. I'm so fat. I was like, did you see that lady over there? Yeah. She just heard you say that. Yeah. She's probably going to commit suicide later because you said that in front of her. But when you're doing a strategy, it's temporary. I'm not going to 20 times my lean muscle mass. You know what that was? 4,000 calories a day. Yeah. You know how hard it is to eat that many calories? I was little.
Well, I told you, we had a phone conversation the other day. I was on my way to an appointment, and I said, I looked back and the conversation I had with the personal trainer. You remember that story? I won't tell you. But I was about 192, and I'm 5'7". Imagine carrying 192, but I was really fit. I mean, I was a lot bigger, but I was.
You weighed what I weigh now.
I was eating about 5,000 calories a day, and that's to chase calories all day. It's a job. It's painful, and I felt terrible.
It was horrible.
I felt like a slug. I felt slow and sluggish, but it was a temporary thing to try to whatever.
Well, and I know we're wrapping up, but I'm going to say this. I said that to say this. It's a strategy. Yeah. So all these people that thinks it's healthy to eat frequently, and they think it's healthy to reduce their calories and step on stage. I'm not saying that this not great strategies. If your strategy is to get up on stage and win a trophy, then yeah, you're gonna petition your calories down and you're gonna move those around, and then you're gonna step on stage and you're gonna look amazing. But that is the most unhealthy moment that you're going to experience until the next competition.
I think
they're dehydrated. Their nutrition is too low. Their minerals is too low. Yeah. There's people that cramp up. There's been people to die on stage or die later because their liver shuts down. So I don't understand why that's the standard to eat frequently. Yeah. It's 20 times the amount of energy to think about this. Your body's working 20 times the amount it needs to work just to get the calories out of the food. Yeah. If you're eating frequently, you're getting that 20 times the energy on each of those meals. That's why you become lean, not because it's healthy. It's just a strategy. It's not your diet yet.
Well, and I think too, like you say, strategy, if it's a short period to maybe cause a change, like you're trying to do something to inject a quick change or something like that, then you go back to your whatever diet, but maybe you change your portion control, your portion whatever, you try to make a little healthier choices, but then you have to, then if I'm going to do this to create a temporary strategy change in my body, if I go back to my diet I had before and I was gaining and I maintained, well, now I've got to introduce something else. Maybe I got to do a little bit more cardio, move a little bit differently. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that you can still maintain that. And I think what it is a lot of these diets are unrealistic in many ways because
You can't.
It's meant for temporary.
You can't apply
You
conscientiousness.
can't.
to it.
Yeah, you can't apply, and it's not something you can do long term because it's not realistic.
Right.
Again,
A strategy shouldn't be long term.
right,
And that's
exactly.
the problem. Like
Yeah.
it's presented as if it's a lifestyle, like it's a diet. It's
Right.
a strategy.
And you can't. And you know, if Terrence were here, because he's had a lot of success with his clients too. You go back to hit the episode. He's on the Terrence Pennington. He'd probably tell you too. You know, you just can't. And you've talked about this many times. You can't just turn the switch off like that. Let's
No.
gradually. You've been doing this for all these years. Let's gradually start introducing new things,
Exactly.
taking some things out.
Exactly.
That way, it's not a complete total shock to you and your body and your mind. You're like, oh, I can't do this, and then
Right.
that whole psychological thing takes
Exactly.
over, right?
Let me share one more thing.
No,
And
you're good.
I hate to do this because I know it's going to start running long, but the reason why is because that triggered something when you said leptin. Whatever strategy that you're on and you're losing weight and then all of a sudden your body stops, it's because of leptin. Imagine taking your phone and not even cutting it on vibrate, but cutting it all the way off.
Mm.
Somebody calls you, you're not going to get the signal. Leptin is the hormone that signals to your brain to utilize fat. Okay? So when you're eating carbs, your body's like, you know what? I don't need this signal. When you're eating tons of carbs and tons of calories, your body's like, you know what? I don't need to utilize this fat. I don't need to take the most valuable thing to my body and utilize that. If you were a millionaire and all of a sudden your money started going down 20% every day, you would start firing some people that are handling your money. You would start making adjustments. You would change your portfolio. That's what your body does. It's losing calories. It's losing gold. There's 9 calories in every gram of fat and only 4 in protein and carbs. So it's twice the amount plus 1.
Yeah.
So your body's like, I got to hold on to my gold. Where's my fat?
Yeah.
So leptin cuts that signal off. Well, here's the other thing. When you reduce your fat to a certain amount, your body's going to reach homeostasis and be like, I'm not going to continue to utilize this fat. Again, it's important. So your body just hits a deadline or hits a flat line. Thank you, Scott. Thank you very much. That's the issue. And when you're doing a strategy, I'm playing chess. I'm playing chess with someone. I'm moving around and making adjustments as they put me in check. That is a check by your body. So what do? You've lost 20 pounds. Go ahead and risk gaining 3 or 4. Get a cheat day, maybe 2 cheat days. Eat some carbs and some cake or whatever. Get that leptin response cut back on and then back off. Do however long you can go. You might have got 10 days of losing weight and then you hit a flat line for 5. Make your adjustment and then go back in. And then when you hit a flat line and you can't break through it again, change your strategy. Yeah. And you just keep doing that until you get to your goal. But then adopt your diet once you reach wherever the destination
Well,
was.
it's like it goes the same for when you're trying to gain muscle, whatever. You have to change up the movement every so many weeks because muscles are inherently lazy. So you got to trick them and change the strategy up for your muscles, right? It's the same damn thing.
Play chess with your body. Strategy, switch. Strategy, switch. Ooh, this worked. And people fall in love with a certain strategy and they go back to it. Why aren't this working the same? Dude, do something else. Your body has been there and done that. Everything about your body, the immune system. Why do you think you take vaccinations? Because it gets an introduction. I mean, if it's working the way you want it to right now with this old diet, you would get sick regardless of the vaccination.
Well, think about when people get a new job or they're learning a new skill. The first time you go through it and you learn, you're like, oh my God, that's so overwhelming. The second time you're like, that was easy. Or when you drive somewhere the first time, it seems so far. The next time you're like, oh, that was a snap. You're stretching and introducing a new, connection in your brain and all that kind of stuff. The same thing happens with dieting, working out to gain all those kind of things. Right. And that can apply to anything because we're all cell-based beings. So,
exactly.
Right. So
exactly.
Anyway, but so next, like I say, this coming week, it'll be a replay from the old show, Mike Ellie replay. It's going to be great. We'll drop, what we'll do, Colin, when I'm in Seattle, we'll do a recorded kind of video together, introduced it, so we can drop that
Right.
on there so people can see and then tag into it. But that's
Cool.
going to really only be a podcast because we didn't record.
We didn't record back
We didn't
then.
video the show that way back then.
Oh, we didn't record. We didn't
yeah.
video back then.
And then-
Kind of shut the hell up. You had your soapbox moment. Shut up.
And then 2 weeks from now, Eli Perkins will be back on to talk about his trip to Israel. It's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know. And let me read the quote again, see if it sparks any last
Boom.
word from you. Without reflection, we go blindly on our way, creating more unintended consequences and failing to achieve anything useful. Pretty good. Huh?
I loved it.
And Margaret Wheatley, I don't know who that is, but that's who said it.
Well, this is something I didn't get to mention, but again, it kind of flows in with that. With the new year, you know, there's been so many people that like thought last year was so bad and really hone in on ideas that they perceive to be so negative about last year. That could be done with any year. That could be done with any moment. You know, your perception is up to you. And sometimes it's the lack of reflecting on your own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then you create a bias. And based on that bias, you know, someone not living up to, or, you know, it's that discrepancy. You know, you have this ideal version and then people don't live up to it. And then you perceive it because it didn't pan out that way as being negative. And sometimes you got to be able to just sit back and observe without bias. Well, even when you have bias, but just allow it. I love that word, allowance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to be emotionally charged either way. I can have my opinion. Ooh, I like this, but let me observe how this viewpoint is. You can watch anything with that state. But when I judge you, I'm an emotionally attached person to how the outcome is.
Well, that goes to that thing that we talked about. Show up, be present, speak your truth,
Right.
and don't get attached to the outcome. And if you would take that approach, man, it takes that emotion out of it. Because, hey, guess what? What you're saying to me, I'm listening to, not, I'm talking about you.
I know. I'm not a
What
retard.
you're saying to me, what you're saying to me is cool. I'm getting it, and maybe I understand your view, but it's your truth, and I'm good with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not emotionally charged. I'm not trying to get you to see when I speak my truth. It's just my truth. You don't have to get offended or get upset about it,
Right.
because it doesn't apply to your truth.
Right.
You can take pieces of it if you like, and I'm not going to get attached to when I speak my truth how you respond to it.
Well, here's the problem. When you do that, when you have this emotional attachment, if you're not observing, like when I'm observing what you're saying, I'm just watching, and then the outcome is the outcome.
Right.
Then you go in. But when you're emotionally attached with judgment, all you're going to hear is that. And then all these awesome points that are after it, you're going to miss, because you're just like, how dare, because just now I said, I'm not a retard. There's going to be people that are sensitively charged to that
Mhm.
and be like, oh, they're not going to hear anything else being said.
Right.
You should be able to hear anybody speak, even if you don't like that person, and hear whatever the ebb and flow of their conversation is. There's going to be good points and bad points, but you're going to miss them if you're attached to this.
Right. No, that's exactly right. I mean, I couldn't have said it any better myself. So until next week, again, is a recorded show, 2 weeks when we're live again. I'm Scott.
It's Colin.
Lyric.
Ow. All right. So let me stop the podcast version. Podcast.
Is my head bigger? Man, these were squeezing my ears.
Maybe you didn't have it clamped down. So Facebook people, thank you so very much. YouTube, thank you so very much for joining in and watching. I know it's been a couple of weeks since we were off, but we're going to get back in the holidays. Again, I'll be out of town next week. We're going to have a replay show. And we'll be live again in 2 weeks. In any case, thank you guys so very much. Hey, Wade, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining in.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
Love you guys.
Peace.